Welcome to Adventures in Bonsai. It's a nice Saturday morning here. I think it's May 18th, and it's about 10 a.m. and it's going to go over 90 today, so I'm heading out to do some work, and I figure I'd just take you with and show you what I do on a day when I have a chance to go and start to clean up some stuff and get it organized a little bit better. Okay? Here's my tub of sphagnum moss ready to go. I'm going to take some and put it in this bucket here and take it down to the table where I'm going to be using it. Okay, so that's going to wait for me as I go out now and just check the plants to see what's going on. I just got done watering them, so you'll see stuff dripping. Now it's time to do a little trimming and clipping and getting them back into shape. Here's this area. It's kind of only has a couple of plants on it now. The less plants I have, the easier it is for me to take care of them. Papayas are doing okay. It's interesting, we have a little bit of growth on this little stump here. But this is the plant I really wanted to look at today. It's a great little plant. I thought it was dead. I've got this new growth, but it's time to cut it back and make it a little more dense in its growth, and we'll see what happens. I see it's got a lot of nice spines on it. It's thorns. It's some kind of an acacia, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to cut it down and then I'll be back. I usually walk around with the tools in my hand, but I decided to put this little apron or whatever you want to call it on, tool holder, so I can keep the tools I want here, which is basically three things: scissors, clippers, and a forceps. Makes it a little easier. Well, I've cut this thing back pretty drastically, but that's what it needs, and now it'll take a better shape. Let's move on. Papayas here are overgrown with artillery ferns, so I want to get rid of some of that. Now, I'm not really worried about getting it all out, because no matter what you do, when you pull it out, it drops seeds down and new stuff will grow. If you keep at it really intensely for a week or so, you can get rid of all this stuff, but for here, it's going to come back no matter what. Now, here's some other stuff here I guess I could also clean up a little while I'm here. Okay, so that's a little better looking. Some of the stuff out. You got to remember these weeds and stuff take up nutrients and water that the plant might want. So that's another good reason to get rid of it. Sometimes it looks nice for a little while, then it just overgrows everything. Okay, here's an old papaya that didn't make it. It's time to move this pot to the dead pot zone. Here's some plants that didn't survive, and sometimes they'll come back if I leave them out long enough. I think most of these are actually all dead. I do water them, but they just look like they've had it. So today I'm going to take some of them out and put some other stuff in those pots. Here's my nursery behind the chicken wire, which has successfully kept the squirrels out. Got a lot of tobacco growing here, some mimosa, got some corn coming up, some sunflowers, cotton, and that's what's happening with that stuff. But let's go look at something else. This Chinese elm has really caught my eye quite a bit because I see how overgrown it is, that it really needs some help. So I'm going to go and trim this down and show you what it looks like in a couple minutes. So now it's been cut down quite a bit. Let's check and see what's going on in here. It looks like it could use a little more sphagnum moss in there. Yeah, it's just needs a little more, pack it tighter. Make it nice and secure. Remember, the more you can press this in, the better it is for the plant. It'll grow better, it'll do fine. Okay, so it's ready to go back on the shelf. Quick and easy. This method is a great method. My neighbor and friend Bob gave me these two serrated Australian umbrella trees. And they need to be transplanted, so I think I want to do that now. So take them out, wash out the soil, put them in sphagnum moss, find a pot for them. Let me do that for you. That's easy, isn't it? That's the idea of how you clean the roots out. Okay, so as you can see, I've really cut these Scheffleras back quite a bit, and they should respond very well. They're very hardy trees. They really do great in the sphagnum moss, and they make lovely bonsai. Let me go show you one of them that we have for a while here. Here's one of my older Scheffleras. I've had this for a number of years, and as you can see, it's got nice roots and trunks, and just a really good tree to use, easy to grow, hardy. So as I walk around, I just kind of find trees that catch my eye, like this Chinese elm that also needs a trim, needs to be fixed up, and that's what we'll do. And just as another note about my book, the Sphagnum Moss Bonsai Method, an illustrated handbook, which is out there. You can get it in hardback, but I've also recently learned you can get it on Kindle. So if those of you that like electronic book reading machines, if you want to get that book, it's relatively inexpensive there, and you can get it and perhaps make your bonsai raising a lot easier. And another thing, you know, the other people in the bonsai world, the traditionalists who work with soil, they've pretty much, they've taken no attempts to review my book. We sent out a number of these books to the publications that would review bonsai books, and they're always reviewing those books with the pictures of the beautiful trees. But for some reason, it seems as if this system scares them. I don't know why, because the idea behind it is to get more people involved in bonsai. And if they start out with this system and want to go to the soil method, great. But the more people we have, you know, looking at bonsai and using bonsai, and it's a great, you know, method to keep yourself calm and to come home from work and have something to do to get your mind off of the stressful days that you have. You know, I don't understand why they seem to band together to not review my book. There was one review, and I think the guy didn't even read the book. I think he mentioned it, and he just panned it terribly. And maybe it's not that good of a book. I don't know, but it seems like if you want to work with this system, it could be very helpful, and it can make, you know, raising bonsai simple and easy. And if you don't believe that, just watch some of the other videos and see how easy it is to transplant these things and to replant them and to work with them and how well they grow. Okay, let's get back to this Chinese elm. First thing I want to do here is clean up the stuff so you can see it. You know, you can't really see what's going on here. I want you to be able to see how the structure of the trunk is going. I want to clean this up pretty good, and you've seen this stuff before, so I'm not going to make you waste your time watching it. I'm just going to do it and then show you the results. A little as I go on, you see I've already cleaned this off. Look how much better it looks already. Now you can see I've cleaned this up here. I leave areas of foliage that I want to be these little canopies coming out, and I'll just keep on working on that because this will respond really nicely to trimming. It'll grow back full and good looking. I want to keep things growing laterally, so I'm getting rid of the vertical stuff, and now I'll work on this other part. Now, for instance, when I see a piece like this growing up, it looks pretty good, but I want to work on the one in back of there, so I want to just cut this off. Now we can see that one, and now I can get this little canopy ready to grow, thick and good looking. Now the question is, I got a little piece over here, what to do with it. I think I want to keep it. You can always cut it off later. Remember, you can always cut stuff off later if you don't want to cut it off now. Okay, now I'm working in here and cleaning this out so I have something to see over there. I want to get rid of the stuff in the middle and put some of this other stuff off, some of this long stuff, and see how I want this plant to look later. So as I look at this now, I've got this piece here coming down, which I want to be a little canopy, and I'm going to just cut it so that it looks a little fuller when it starts to regrow. And I have this area up here, which I think I'll keep pretty full basically, but I'm going to just trim off this stuff to help promote growth. You know, trees like to be cut and trimmed. This happens to them all the time in nature. wind, animals, insects, bite stuff off, and constantly help them to actually grow a little bit better and fuller, and actually in the long run it makes the plant healthier if it has more leaves and is able to use those leaves for photosynthesis. And I'm going to try and cut away some of the stuff so these are more separate looking and they don't really run into each other so much. Even a clipper would be good here. And I see this piece here sticking up, I can shorten it. This piece here I want to go. Okay, so there we have a better shaped tree. Looks a little more bonsai-ish. It's simple and easy. Have fun with this stuff. Let's go do something else. It looks like this might be Chinese elm day. I've got this thing here growing. I'm going to take it down and clean that one up too. Okay, so here we have it. This is the before. I'm going to do it and we'll take a look at it after. So here we go. Been cut back pretty much. Gives it a much better shape. At least you can see what's going on. And this is called directional pruning. By cutting branches and leaves and trunks certain ways, you can make them grow out as you want. I don't use wire. If you want to, you certainly can. Wiring can be fun and interesting, but I just find that it gives me problems because I end up forgetting I have the wires on, and I find it months later and there's scars on the tree. So I like the system better. It gives me a more natural looking tree. If you want to orientalize your tree though, please go ahead and do it. It's your tree. Do what you want. I did notice that this tree is a little bit on the wobbly side here. And I don't quite like that, so I think I'm going to take it out and try and repack it and make it fit a little better. I've really tried to pack it in on this side over here. That was the side that was weak. And I'm just trying to push it in here and put a lot of sphagnum moss in to hold it steady and secure. And that's it for this one. Let's go looking to see if there's anything else we need to do. I thought this tree was dead over the winter, but I just kept hoping, and it started to come back, and now it's coming back nicely, and it's time to trim it and cut it down. Let's take a look and see what happens with this one. I don't know what this tree is. It's got these interesting trident-shaped leaves. Maybe someone out there can recognize it. You could give me a heads up as to what this is. Okay, here's the before view. I got a feeling all this stuff here needs to come off, but I may need a saw for that. Well, let's see what happens. Well, here it is. I cut it back. Now, because of my arm, my shoulder surgery I had, I can't really do what I want to do today with all this stuff, but I thought this was a pretty interesting looking piece of trunk here and branches that I'll probably scrape down and apply lime sulfur to and make it white looking. And maybe this little thing up in here, this little top here, this little bowl we have. And other than that, it's a nice looking tree and it's got great potential. And now that it's growing, I think it'll be pretty nice looking. Now I'm going to put it back.